Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS picks. We have the NASCAR Cup Series at Homestead, the Miami Speedway for the Dixie Vodka 267 laps on this high tire wear track. A mile and a half. I am TK Nation 47, joined by Mega Ruler 31. Mega, how you doing tonight? And are you ready for some Cup action after a fun Xfinity race?
Yeah, I'm hoping to recover.
Was not the best outcome for us, especially when our one of our main plays ran up into the back end of one of our value plays. Yeah, unfortunate for us here at FSI, but the clock continues to roll, and the next slate is up for the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's just get into some picks here, and we'll start it out talking about what everybody's talking about, and what are we going to do with Denny Hamlin?
Well, if you saw today, Chase Briscoe started out in the poll, and he ended up with, I think,
Cindric. That was Cindric.
Cindric, yeah.
Yeah.
I got those three, Grayson, Briscoe, Cindric. I always got those guys confused, but
all the same age anyway.
Perfect. But anyways, I think he ended up with like 60 DK points. Started first, ended fifth. He had led 63 laps and had 60 or 26 like fast laps. So,
yeah,
I was kind of concerned if he didn't finish first, like what would happen. And that was decent. There were some of the guys, that started in the back did catch him a little bit in points. Got ahead a bit. So, but I think really, if you in this one, like Hamlin has been so strong. His team nailed the setups almost all last year. Once we hit COVID and they're just rolling right off the trailer and not having any practice, he definitely had it figured out. So I think that he can get out ahead in this race, have the right setup, get out there. He understands the tire wear. He does well here. So, and for some reason, he's 2, 4, 6, 8th highest priced guy under 10K. It's almost like they're baiting us to take him over, some of the other guys that are higher priced that might have a little bit more place differential, but might not lead as many laps or have as many fastest laps.
Right. And that's the thing. The clean air is good air here at Miami, and he's going to be out front for the majority of the race. And what I did notice in today's Xfinity race is that pit stall position is huge on this track. Long pit stall selections. And, many times when AJ Allmendinger would get in front, he would get to the pits first after a couple of those stages. Or I think there was a caution at the end of one stage, and he was out, on old tires or something, or no, he was coming out on fresh tires. He got to the front on those new tires, and a lot of that was ground he made up on the pits. And Denny Hamlin's going to have the number one pit stall. He's going to have more opportunities after cautions, after stages, and that number one pit stall to gain track position that way. And I think that's going to be a big advantage for Denny Hamlin going into tomorrow's race. So like you said, the price tag, the pit stall, the car setup that is normally, fantastic for the number 11 team. I see no reason why you shouldn't have at least 65% of Denny Hamlin in your lineups. I assume he'll be the highest owned. This guy wins. He's 9th average finish at Homestead. So even if he does pull a Cindric and he leads the majority, or not majority, but most laps, or something around 60 laps, and he logs in 40 fastest laps, he's still going to score in the high 60s with a top 5 finish. And I could take that with his price tag as a perfect play, in my opinion, especially with his upside. So with that being said on Denny Hamlin, let's roll into some other plays that we need to focus on to round out maybe a cash build or some other GPP strategies. Who do you like as some of your favorite picks for tomorrow?
Well, there's two guys in the back. So we have Hamlin starting up front. And then there's two guys, one that I think might be able to get up there and lead a bunch of laps in the race later on, but it's going to take him a while to get up there. So you want to capitalize with somebody up front, and Hamlin's my pick to get those laps. Well, some of your other picks might be getting up to the front, maybe they'll overtake him, which is perfectly fine. I'm sure Hamlin will still probably finish top 5. So the first guy is Reddick. Reddick started second to last in the Xfinity race. Again,
Yep.
different car, different situation, and he made it up to the front of the pack, led some laps, ended up finishing second. Had a very
Right.
good race. He's great on this race track. We talked about in the Xfinity video. He can ride the wall. He can get that the push off the wall, but not get, like, a lot of guys tried it and they get too far up there and they get the rub and then they cut down a
Hmm.
tire in the front or the back of the car and it just ends in a complete disaster. That
Right.
happened to Allgaier today, I believe, as we
Yeah.
predicted.
Yes, you did. Shout out to you.
We'll
Didn't
call
play
him
a single
Wallgaier now.
Wallgeier. Yes. Don't play him at Darlington either. Noted.
Okay. So anyways, so I really like Reddick to get up there. He's reasonably priced, 8,500. And I think the other guy is the guy that's starting two behind him, second to last in this race, is Matt Benedetto. Just has not had good luck starting out this season. That's why he's so far down. But he's got a really good car. His Woodruff car is good.
Yeah.
It's a Penske affiliated car. They have their tech, they have their speed, they have, a lot of different things going for him. And place differential, definitely. I see him, if you just get some in the top 20,
Yeah.
he's really helped you out. And I think he's going to be very highly owned just starting so far back, because the one thing in the Xfinity race is I took the 40th place driver. I took the 39th place, drivers like Yaley, and it was
Star.
superstar there who took
Oh
out our
yeah.
leader. But anyways, it made sense because these guys, we knew we were going to get place differential. We knew that there were some guys that they were going to get up ahead of and get you decent points, and it paid off. But I just don't see that in the back of this field. There's a lot of guys that are either questionable drivers, they have
Mhm.
questionable equipment, or they're starting like the lower, any guy under probably, I think 6K maybe. I
Yeah.
think no, let's say under 5.5K or
Sure.
5,500. I think that there is a lot of risk there because some of them are starting like way too high up in the
I
field.
agree. Yeah. Yeah. I agree totally with you. You know, definitely just not my way of strategy this week. We had talked about it before we jumped on, that this might be one of those races where you take one guy at the top and typically you're trying to cram in maybe two dominators, and maybe you can get away with, somebody like I don't know, let's just give an example, Quinn Huff or something, it's starting 40th and he can finish in like the low 30s and you get like 20 points or something on place differential. I think you can get away with that on certain tracks. I don't see that tomorrow. And I think it's going to be a one dominator kind of approach. And a lot of guys that are starting in that low 20s, or like you said, Reddick, Matt Benedetto, that can get some place differential or just get solid finishing position.
Well,
But yeah,
here's a weird thing about Huff though is and I made this mistake too when I'm talking with people. There's only 38 cars in this race, which is kind of bizarre because I thought NASCAR expanded to 40. So the
they
extra
did.
38 place car is going to get a couple bonus points anyways because they're starting, two positions above like where NASCAR reset the floor. So not
Oh,
a huge deal, but I get what you're saying there.
yeah, it's just not part of my strategy this week. But yeah, we have those couple of good favorite picks for you. I think that rounds out cash pretty well. But off to GPPs. Um, we need to talk about if Denny doesn't do what Denny normally does when he's leading from the pole, or if Denny doesn't dominate, or maybe there's a car behind him that's faster and can catch him and then could potentially either dominate or lead the majority of laps. Give me a couple of plays that you feel can do something like that.
Well, I like Kevin Harvick. Harvick was the other one last year who right off the holler, except for I think maybe it was Kentucky. There was one race he was just abysmal, had the completely wrong setup, and he just couldn't do anything. But 99 out of 100 times, I know they didn't race 100 times, but just hyperbole.
Yeah.
Anyways, he got out there and he was able to do some of the same thing that Denny did, and they kind of traded wins, and they were like the head of the class last year. And if Denny doesn't do it, I could see Harvick, who's started off the season average, but Daytona's a lot of luck, and the road
Yeah,
race
not
is
his thing. Yeah,
Yes, not his thing. So here's where he could start to really turn it on. And
absolutely.
he's starting fourth, so yeah, I
Right. It's
definitely see
pretty
him.
high up.
Yeah, a top 10. So even if he loses a couple positions, if he gets out there and leads some of the laps, and he's one that can have a fast car, get out in that clean air, and get those fast lap points too.
You know what we've seen with Harvick over the years is when Harvick has a dominant car, forget it. The field's done. Like I once watched this guy at Atlanta, and that's the other thing. He's super good at these high tire wear tracks. Like that is his MO. Like that is his thing. I seen him at Atlanta lead almost every single lap and finish with maybe 6 cars on the lead lap after he dominated. That was also because he had an indented rear windshield, and that led that led to some car chief ejections for the next couple of
Right.
races. But still, Harvick can dominate a race like nobody else, and I love
And
that
his pit
GPP
crew is
pick.
really good too. I haven't
Right.
really looked too much at like changes in pit crews this season, but
Mhm.
he's consistently been one to have a good pit crew to get on and off pit road there. So
Yeah, and one thing about Denny Hamlin is he loves to speed on pit road. So there's another opportunity for Denny to kind of move away. And then there's guys like Harvick who has the 4th pit selection.
I
He's
think all
gonna
the Gibbs cars are just off with their like tachometers or something, but because
I
like
tell you.
especially like an Infinity and truck, he gets dinged all the time for speeding on pit road. Truex, yeah.
Yeah.
Jones has been good so far.
Jones is always pretty good. Yeah, Jones is good. As a GBP that I like heading into tomorrow is Chase Elliott. I don't think many people are talking about Chase right now. He did have 5 wins last year, 15 top fives and 22 top tens. I mean, the guy's a racing machine. He has 11th average finish on high tire wear tracks, 8th at this place. It's not really been his best, track, but he won the championship last year. Or no, the championship was at Phoenix last year, right?
Right, but he was leading this race last year, and wasn't it like Blaney or Logano or one of the Penske guys took him out? Who because he took him out the previous.
That
It,
was
yeah,
Logano. I remember that. Isn't that that wasn't that the bird race where he gave him the bird?
it
I
might have
you
been,
know
but it was like Elliot was doing really well, and I think whoever it was I think it was Logano was even like a lap down or so,
Yes.
and he
And he
was.
blocked him on purpose.
Yep.
I do remember that. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean
So
Chase.
if you're looking at the box scores here, like you really want to look at the average running position more than you want to look at the finish, because sometimes that doesn't tell you everything. So
I I think the average run position was 4th. So uh
yeah,
I think
it's 5.9. So
yeah,
that's really
yeah, there it is. I love Chase Elliott.
actually no, sorry, it's 3.5, even better.
Uh Chase though is 11K, so it's really hard to do Chase and Denny lineups. So you're probably going to have to just pick Chase and hope Denny doesn't dominate the race, and then maybe you can pick like maybe a Chase and Benedetto Reddick. It's just going to be an awkward build, and any way you can figure out how to maybe get Denny squeezed in with another dominator is it could separate you, or it could actually work out like to be not in your favor. So just going to be an interesting way to build lineups tomorrow. Is there
And
any
even
other?
if you want to do like a 20 max and like the $1 or they have like the $4 one, which is a 20 max,
Yeah,
then take the Benedetto and Reddick and all your lines and switch up your Dominator car and find some other guys you're comfortable with. So
yeah,
find the 2 other guys to fit in your lineup, and then the 6th guy, depending on like salary, you'll have to go like high or low with. And
sure.
I do that quite often sometimes in GPPs, just to kind of in these dominator races is
Mhm.
like we said, this one is hard to like try to get like 2 in there, but pick the one guy and just kind of rotate that name, keep the
Mhm.
core guys in the back, the 2 other core guys that you find that you really like, and then the 6 guys whatever salary fits.
Right, and I don't think that's a perfectly good um, roster construction for tomorrow. I love that we're discussing that for the viewers, and I hope that they get this, and they can build some good lineups that way. But we need some value. Let's talk a little bit of value. I have one guy I could talk about, Anthony Alfredo at 5,500 for front row. He's 27th. As your model has him projected for 15th, and I know a lot of these numbers are based on his Xfinity numbers, but his average run position was 15th in the Xfinity, and he ran for a decent team in the Xfinity. He had decent equipment. I think he's going to have decent equipment tomorrow with front row. His track finish in Xfinity was 7th. I like Anthony Alfredo, kind of like Harvick, and not in any way am I comparing Harvick and Alfredo, but Alfredo unlucky on the Daytona Speedway, and road course not really his cup of tea. So I think in this mile and a half high tire wear, I like Anthony Alfredo to be my main value pick tomorrow. What about you?
Like I said, I really struggle with any of these lower guys. Maybe something will come to me overnight, or maybe something will pop in the morning. But I just, again, it's the equipment, it's the position that they're starting in. It's like you've got McDowell and Priest there. They're starting like 6th and 8th. Like that's a complete fade. Some of these other guys are in the 20s. You got, Justin Haley had some experience today there, but
I would be the only other guy I was going to mention as a potential value. Aspire is not technical. Is actually, Steve Letarte, I think, is on his box.
no, I
So
think that's Corey LaJoy, because his pit crew chief has Corona quarantine.
oh really?
Yeah, he has
I
to
thought.
stay at home.
Oh wow! I thought Letarte was going to be on the box for him.
I think it's LaJoy, who's also Spire.
Oh wow! Wow. Well, we'll see how that works out
Well,
for him.
they're only 100 apart, so I'm sure people can Google it and figure out which one.
Call coming in. Yeah. I don't mind Haley. Is that you like?
Well, Blicky's there. He's always been one of my favorites, just because I know he finishes races. He's not going to light the world on fire, but he's starting 36, which is better than in the 20s. So if he gets 4 or 5 positions at an even 5K, I can live with that. So hey, maybe I found my guy.
Yeah, there you go. You're a Balicki guy through and through. If I've said fades, I meant value. Excuse me. Yeah, but I think those are some decent. Like you said, it's hard. Is there any other GPP options, maybe in a balanced approach that you would like for tomorrow?
I've got some guys. We'll have to cut that. Sorry. Coughing attack.
Oh, I thought my headphones went out.
No, I muted it. 1 second.
We're good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So some guys in the mid-range that I like are like Austin Dillon. Childress has always had a good team there, and Reddick is his teammate. So Briscoe also. Man, I'm losing my voice now.
You all right?
Yeah, 1 second.
All right.
Hey, I've never had this happen before.
Yeah, you're good. It's funny. My headphones went out the same moment that you had a coughing attack. So all hell broke loose. Yeah, we have some other names listed. Chase Briscoe and Kyle Larson, 2 other guys that Mega and I both like. We're both really on Alex Bowman. I do like Bowman as he's won a race like Chicagoland, which is another one of those races where you pull slide jobs and you got high tire wear. So I think Bowman is a really good play. Is there any other plays? Are you feeling all right? You good?
Yeah, I'm good now. Okay.
Okay.
You like Bowen. I also like Byron. I mean, a little bit more expensive, 91, but he's starting 31st. So there's definitely an opportunity to move up there with a good team, a good car, and a good driver. So I like him. Like I started to try to mention before, Austin Dillon, I like to. The RCR cars have done decent here, and Reddick is his teammate. So maybe they've spent some time in the garage talking about like Reddick's strategy of how he's able to run the wall. And Chase Briscoe did really, really, really well on this track in Xfinity also. The final guy that I'll throw out there that I think is GPP that's kind of a value is Ross Chastain. I know we have always, kind of said stay away from him, but
he's riding the wall.
but he isn't he a former dirt track driver? Yeah.
I mean, he's made his money off of those late models on the dirt tracks.
And I think that, that type of racing really, with the tire wear and stuff really should benefit on this track. So if he doesn't run into other cars, if he doesn't star us, then
I'm so worried about Chastain, tapping that wall. But I could see it, and I think I'm going to have some ownership on Ross Chastain tomorrow, as well as Kyle Larson. As we all know, Kyle Larson loves running that high groove, though those are kind of identical drivers. Ironically, Chastain's driving in Larson's old car, and their styles kind of mesh in the same way, kind of a wild card. I'd say Chastain's not as good a driver as Larson, but, they like to ride that high groove, and I think they could come away with a decent finish tomorrow and potentially, lead some laps. Those are, like we talked about earlier, Denny Hamlin. If he doesn't lead some laps, and then maybe you can get a guy coming from the back like Larson, that'd be a perfect way to maybe get some more dominator points in there with Denny Hamlin as well.
Yeah, and we're going to see some weird guys lead some laps because we saw it in the Xfinity. You had about 10 cars, like you talked about earlier with Hamlin had the first pit stall. They didn't want to pit with everybody else because it's so congested. They wanted to avoid trouble. And I think, wasn't it like Benedetto, and this wasn't the race where like we lost like Blaney and Benedetto and a whole bunch of guys that crashed at like right in the beginning of pit road. I can't remember which race that was last year, but I know Benedetto had some damage on pit road last year.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you see like a BJ McLeod out there, like leading at some point, or James Davidson, or, even Corey LaJoy, somebody like that, Chris Boucher, Cole Custer, like somebody like that. You're going to be like, because like Brett Moffitt had this beautiful strategy, and if he didn't get too high up on the wall and run into the wall and flatten the side of his car, he probably could have won that race because he didn't have to pit for fuel. And if there are no more cautions, and everybody else would have, and he would have had a huge advantage. And our boy Barry was up there too. There was a lot of them that you're just like sitting there like, how is this the top five? Like, it's like, is it like when they used to have like the all-star race and they stopped it in the middle and then they reversed the field and started over again? Do you remember those races?
Yeah, I remember. I definitely agree with you there. Like some odd guys. Yeah. I think it's a lot of it pit strategy. Who's got fresher tires? I mean, we saw it with Cindric. He pitted right before like 10 laps at the end of stage 2. He pitted. He had such a dominant car, and he had fresh tires. He went from 22nd to first in less than 2 laps. I mean, that's the difference of tires at this kind of track.
It's about 10 miles per hour for like 6 to 8 laps.
It literally looked like a video game. It's like on rookie mode.
Exactly.
It was really cool to watch. And I think with guys that do those different strategies, like Keselowski, he does those odd pit strategies, and sometimes they work out. So I think it's perfectly something you could do in your MME formats, is just taking darts on guys that you think are going to do different kind of pit strategies. So,
and Ryan and who was it? Myrit Snyder won this race. He wasn't even on our radar. Like, he wasn't a bad play, but he just wasn't somebody that like popped, but he just benefited from everything working out right, and he got his first win. So congratulations. So maybe somebody like Bubba Wallace ends up like, there where in all our research, we haven't even mentioned him because
No,
again, he doesn't pop as a great play. He doesn't pop as a bad play. He's starting 19th. He's just somewhere in the middle. But with all the chaos and things that could happen in a race, he could end up in winning.
absolutely. Well, I think
Not
that
saying
we pretty
play
much,
him, but
yeah,
just
we
just an
pretty much
example.
played. Right. We pretty much got, a good deal amount of drivers listed for guys that we would play. Let's just quickly go over some guys that we're probably going to fade that maybe the rest of the community might play. Anyone come to mind as a high ownership fade?
Um, I think that some people might be gravitating towards Daniel Suarez. He's 5,700. He's starting in the 20s. Um, I just don't see it. He's what, 2 years removed now from being in the, who was it, in a Gibbs car, was he? Or
Yeah, he was in a Gibbs car. I think he was in the
yeah.
19 before Truex.
So I just
I don't
just
get
don't
it
see
either,
that.
man.
And then I know like like some of your casual players might be like, hey, Michael McDowell, like, he was a darling last year. He won Daytona, but he's starting sixth, and I just don't see him with like all the strong cars. I just can't wait till we get to a point in the season where the cream starts to rise to the top. And when
Yep.
we get these like pre-qualification, then you're getting like some of the faster cars already in the front, and you're getting some of the intermediate cars in the middle, and the cars that should be in the back are kind of starting in the back. Maybe you'll have like one or two people back there, and there'll be the obvious chalk cash play, but
Sure.
it's just like so mixed up now that it just sometimes it ruins DFS, because if you get like so many good guys in the back just because of their draw of starting in the season having bad luck, and they could have dominant cars and just blow through everybody.
Right. Yeah. And DraftKings is doing a good job of pricing those drivers up
Yeah.
for us. And it's really making things difficult for us on the value side of it. But, if it's a race, and anybody can win, and anybody can move it up from where they are in their position that they're starting in. It's just a tough build this week. And I think the only other fade I can think of is Christopher Bell.
Yeah.
Coming off a win, he's starting third. Is there a possibility he can get out in front of Denny Hamlin early? Maybe. I don't bank on it. I don't think he's someone like, he raced that road course brilliantly. He did really well. Is the 1.5 tire wear his jam? Is it? I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I don't know. Like, Truex has done well here. We haven't mentioned him at all today. Again, he GPP play. He's he's actually the highest priced player, isn't he?
Yeah, 11.7, 11.4.
I don't know. Kyle Busch is. So obviously DK thinks, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah. Kyle Busch is 11.8. Truex is 11.4.
No shares of Kyle Busch. I'll have shares in Truex. It's a 1.5 miles.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Busch is a super talented driver. He's just had some bad luck, and he, again, like everybody says it, it's no secret that if they had practice, and he was able to get out there and get a feel for the car. He's a very cerebral driver. He takes good notes, gives his crew good feedback. So eventually throughout the race, they finally get the car
Yeah,
where it
by
needs to be.
stage 3.
But by then it's usually too late. So
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways, going back to that, Bell is, in that stable. So are they sharing notes with him potentially, to help him out? But still, I think you're right. Third, I can see him like falling. Like we talked about in Xfinity, I started the third place driver in a GPP because I thought he had a good car. I thought he was like a dark horse, and his engine blew, and he was the first one out. And I think I lost like 26 points in that lineup from him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, Harrison today.
When you're starting early, or when you're starting in the top of the field and you don't lead laps, and even if you run second and he doesn't log any fastest laps or lead laps, he's kind of like dead money. He's just dead in that position.
Right.
And then by the end of the race, if he doesn't win or lead a bunch of laps, then the play is just it's just silly at that point. So
Yeah, if you're starting like third at like 5,000, like maybe I consider it.
totally different story. Yeah, but he's not. He's priced up and he's third. And
76 isn't bad, but still, it's too much.
Yeah, but I think that'll do it on construction, some strategy, and some plays and some fades. Mega, thank you for your time this evening. I think we did pretty much a good breakdown for these guys, and thank you for listening in. Sorry for the mid-round freak out. My headphones going out and Mega having a cough attack. It happens. It happens, people. It's Saturday night. Give us a break. But looking forward to the race tomorrow. And, thank you for listening. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can find our Discord channel on the Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. You can get Mega's projections. Big shout out to him for that. And you can get our core lineups, just a lineup build that starts you out in your cash builds, your TPP builds. Really enjoy doing those for the guys. And we'll, any questions, any advice, questions on drivers, you just pop in the chat, ask us a few questions. We'll always be around. So thanks again, and I hope you enjoy your Sunday. And Mega, see ya. See everybody else.
Yep. Good luck, everyone.
Yep.